Francis, small cap stocks have lagged large caps for the past 2 years, but it seems like they're getting some momentum of late. Why is that?
Well, there's a lot of known knowns about the small cap asset class, right? They are very cheap on a relative basis to large, and they've been out of favor, as you said, for a long period of time. I think one of the big aspects of small caps that people are missing is one, they've actually outperformed since the April 8th low of the market, and two, they're outperforming for the quarter at least through the middle here of August. So I think we're the beginning of what could be an extended small cap cycle, and I refer to them often as the forgotten asset class. They are the true alternative asset class to what's happening in the upper end of the large cap space today.
And is it the upper end in terms of quality? Because a lot of times it's low quality stocks that lead the comeback and then they're followed by the higher quality stuff.
And that's true. You know, when you see a big dislocation in the small cap asset class, you typically see the lower quality companies do quite well coming off the bottom. And we've seen that. But typically what happens in the second year is that the transition goes to quality. So our focus as a firm at Royce Investment Partners has always been focusing on those companies that can withstand both the down and the up. If we can do that much better in the down market, we can compound that much faster in the up market.
And which sectors? Because there's a whole lot of small cap names out there.
There are a lot of small cap names out there.
Thousands and thousands of them.
And I think, you know, we've used the volatility of late to our advantage. When you see such volatile markets like we've seen so far this year, you want to take advantage of that, and that is your future performance. And so we've been able to add to positions in industrials, financials, capital markets type businesses. So there are some really interesting areas within the small cap market right now that have yet to be recognized.
And does the fact that small caps have been out of favor for so long give you an advantage? Because no offense, a lot of people have given up on value stocks, a lot of which are small cap stocks.
Well, I look at it from the standpoint of that small cap have cycles, and people have forgotten there just can be a small cap cycle. We've been in a large cap cycle that typically ends, but when a small cap cycle begins, it lasts at least 10 years typically. And I think we're in the very beginning of that. The key to that cycle is going to be earnings. Small caps have been in an earnings recession over the past 2 years, and we're just starting to see that turn positive. And my guess, by the end of the year, you'll see small caps outperforming large, especially on an earnings perspective.
And you said the word recession. What about in terms of the economy? You're talking about an earnings recession, but what about how's the economy setting up for the finish of 2025? Because there are murmurings, recession murmurings, if you will, due to the recent jobs number.
When I think about small caps have endured two 30% corrections, if you will, over the past several years, pricing in a recession that has yet to materialize. And so there's been an enormous amount of uncertainty around the economy, but yet I think, and what we're hearing from a lot of the companies, our small cap companies, from bottoms up perspective, is it's been very resilient, much more resilient than people give it credit for. And so when you think about the possibility of reindustrialization and reshoring in the United States, and the fact that in the most recent bill signed by the president, you're going to see 100% depreciation, you could see the beginning of a CapEx cycle that will be pretty powerful for small cap companies.
And then finally, that's what you may be seeing, but Fed Chairman Powell, he's going to see what he sees. So how will rates and your rate expectations and his rate expectations affect small caps going forward?
We don't have rate expectations. That's kind of not what we do. We're very bottoms up, but I can tell you that if rates do come down, that will help small caps. 40% of the debt burden held by small cap companies is variable rate debt. And so anything to ease that burden will actually help. And you're seeing that in the performance this quarter of those lower quality companies doing quite well. For example, biotechnology companies, which are typically low quality within the small cap space. They burn through a lot of cash bringing a product to market. They are doing quite well this quarter. So that's just kind of emblematic of the market anticipating some type of rate cut later this fall.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for coming on and talking about it.
Thank you. Great to be here.